Mr. Broder here, that's right, with another Brodeurland weekly recap. What was our word for the week this week? It was goal setting. And what is goal setting? That is when you go out and you try to figure out what is it that I want to achieve. But more importantly, you take active steps in order to achieve that goal, achieve that dream, achieve that desired outcome. So, what is it that we talked about this week? Well, there are a couple things. First, one thing we talked about that with goal setting, it's not all about actually achieving the goal. What? Are you kidding me? I thought about goal setting is all about getting to your goal. Well, yes, but there's a more important part. The most important part is looking back and recognizing what is the growth, what is the change that had to take place in order for me to achieve that goal. Because here's the deal. When you get to that goal, when you achieve that goal, it's exciting. You feel happiness. You're like, man, I did it. But that happiness, that excitement will only last for so long, whether that's a day, a couple hours, a week or so. And as life goes on, the happiness will start to fade. Because here's the more important thing. You got to be able to reflect back at that growth, at that change that took place in you to achieve that goal. Because once you get to that new goal, now you got to ask, what's next? Because now you have this new found sense of growth and change inside of you that will help you move to the next stages, whatever that goal is coming up next. Now, as we move forward, there were some other things we also talked about. Another thing we talked about is the difference between I should and I must. See, a lot of times we say to ourselves, oh, I should do this or I should do that. But more importantly, we need to change those shoulds to I must, because when I make it a must, I get it done. When I say should, I'm like, well, maybe I should do that. Once you change it to must, you know you've got to do this. The problem is a lot of us, we say must when we had it. Life has been enough, right? What if we changed our musts earlier? And we started hitting it before we got to that part where it was just like, I've had it with life. I'm done. I have to do this. I have no other choice. If we did our must sooner, if we caught ourselves when we said I should and stop ourselves and say, no, I must. Think about how much more quicker we would be able to see that growth, to see that change, to get to that goal. Now, part of that is a lot of us, we don't like to take that second step in the definition of goal setting, which is being able to take those action steps, right? When we say I must, we're willing to take those action steps. And how do we take those action steps? Well, this is how. You recognize patterns. That's right. It's all about patterns. Can you recognize the patterns? For example, some of you guys are in sports. Can I recognize the plays? Can I recognize the skills? Maybe you're in band. Can I recognize the notes? Can I recognize the instrument? Maybe you're in math. Can I recognize the formulas? Can I recognize the steps to attack that problem? Right? And then next, can I use those patterns? Can I use those plays to be successful in that game? Can I use those notes in that instrument to create the music to come alive? Can I use those formulas? Can I use those steps to get that problem and to accomplish a math problem? But here's what sets us apart. The last part is, can you create patterns? Because here's the deal. For me, I look at a lot of my inspiration with Mr. Rogers with education. And I used a lot of his patterns. For example, instead of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, I use now, and I've created Brodeurland. So I learned from his patterns, and then I created Brodeurland. Then he had the patterns of themes of the week. I created words of the week, right? And one of the words we're talking about right now is goal setting, kind of that theme of the week. But can you set yourself apart? Can you then go out and start to create and make your own patterns? Because here's the deal. You make each day a special day by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you. And I like you just the way you are inside. It's good that you exist, but you got to go out. And you got to recognize the patterns, just like the leaves in the background right now. I recognize it's fall. I recognize it's November. I recognize things are coming upon. Am I going to be ready for those changes coming as the season turns? Or am I going to ignore those patterns and not move forward. But you got to go out and be that best version of you. Until next time, Broder out. Peace.